Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please, if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please guys, hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful asymmetric neckline dress with a rushed lower part. Okay, so from the thumbnail for the sleeve they used a feather, I mean, but because I don't want feather, so, because I feel it falls off easily, so I'm going to be using an organza to make a flounce for the sleeve. So please, if this is something you're interested in watching, please stay tuned and enjoy. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to fold my fabric into two. I'm going to be using the whole length of this fabric, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead to mark it. Then after marking it, I'm going to go ahead to draw a straight line. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to mark my neckline measurement, which is 3 inches. Then also take your shoulder divided by 2, which is 16 divided by 2, that's 8 inches. So I'm just going to mark 8 inches. Then come down by 1 inch on that shoulder point. Then connect to the 3 inches, okay? So after doing that, I'm going to take my armhole measurement, which is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, whatever you have, just mark that and draw a straight line. So now I'm just going to take my shoulder also on that armhole line or bust line, whichever, okay? So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to mark the midpoint, then come inward by 0.75. Then I'm going to take my bust divided by 4, that's 9 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead to use my armhole curve to connect the line. Okay, mind you, I already took 1 inch allowance also, okay? There's already a 1 inch allowance. So the next thing is to take my waist divided by 4, that's 7.5 plus 1 inch allowance. Also my hips divided by 4, that's 11. 44 divided by 4 is 11 plus 1 inch allowance. Then I'm just going to go ahead to connect it using my roller. Then I'm going to use a curve to connect the waist to hips. Then after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead to connect it all the way down using a straight line. So it's basically a straight skirt. So whatever you have on your hips, that's what you're going to take on the hem line. then you're going to draw a straight line all the way down. So I'm just going to take my back neck measurement. So I'm going to come down by 1 inch at this point for my back neckline, then connect it to that 3 inches, which is the standard neckline. Okay, that's just for the back. We will have to do the front separately because it's an asymmetric neckline. So now I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. So when cutting it out, I used 1/2 inch on the shoulder for the allowance and on the armhole part. Okay, so I didn't measure it because I could gauge it, but for beginners, please, I would advise you measure it on the armhole part and the shoulder part and cut like for 1/2 inch allowance. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So now for the front, what I'm just going to go ahead to do is to notch the midpoint of the neckline. Okay, just to know that's the center. So after doing that, for the back piece, I'm going to come inward by 1 inch on the waistline. Okay, just to erase bulges so we don't have like folds at the back. Then I'm just going to go ahead to use my ruler to connect like so, just like a curvy. So after connecting like this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. This helps to erase bulges at the back. Okay, then now I'm just going to go ahead to separate the back piece from the front so I can focus on the front. So what I'm just going to go ahead to do is to spread it open. So you have to determine how you want it to be. Maybe it's left to right or right to left, but I want mine right to left. Okay, so it all depends on your preference. So from the shoulder, I came downward by 5.5 inches. Okay, I came downward by 5.5 inches. Then I'm just going to go ahead to connect the line like so. So from this armhole point, I came inward by 2.5 inches. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead to use my cuff to connect it to the shoulder part like so. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to come down by 2 inch on the midpoint. Okay, then I'll just connect like so, just to know the midpoint. So I'm doing this thing on the right side actually. Then from that 2 inch I came down from, I'm going to go ahead to connect to that 2.5 I came out from on the armhole, then connect it to the shoulder. Just be careful while doing this. I'm sure you understand. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead to cut it out. I advise you do this paparazzi on the do all this drafting on the right side, so just for you to be sure. So now I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the sleeve of this cloth. So for the sleeve, I'm just going to just take your sleeve measurement. So mine is 23 inches plus the hemming allowance, that's 24 inches. So I just went ahead to mark 24 inches. Okay, then I'm going to take my for you to get this measurement, you have to do your bust divided by 12 plus 1.5. So whatever you have, just go ahead to mark it like so. For me, I have 3.5, so I marked 3.5. Okay, then I'm going to take my armhole measurement, which is 7.5. Then I'm going to connect like so. Okay, so after doing this, I'm going to guys to take the midpoint of this part. Then after getting the midpoint, I'm going to give it like an S shape using my armhole curve. So my shoulder to my upper round arm, it's around 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark 8 inches. Then to my elbow is 12 inches. So I'm just marking 12 inches. Okay, then after marking this, for the circumference, it is 13 divided by 2, that's 6.5 plus 1 inch in allowance. Also for the elbow, 12 divided by 2 is 6 plus 1 inch allowance. And also for the wrist, 8 divided by 2, which is 4 plus 1 inch allowance. So you can just go ahead to do that for your own body, and everybody has different measurements. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead to connect my sleeve. Okay, so please don't forget to add 1 inch allowance also at this point. I forgot to add that. Then connect it. Okay, so after connecting, I'm just going to go ahead to cut out the sleeve part. So after cutting out the sleeve, I'm just notching this point. Then I'm going to go ahead to cut out the facing for the dress. So for the facing, I'm just placing my lining. Then please make sure you properly place it on your lining or whatever you want to use as your facing. Then after placing it, I'm just going to go ahead to pin it down. Then after pinning it down, I'm just going to go ahead to cut it all out. So I went ahead to do the same for the back piece, okay? So I'm going to sew up the neckline by 1/2 inch for both of them, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So I'm going also for the front, I'll sew it up by 1/2 inch, then take it to the sewing machine, okay? So now this is what we have after sewing it up. Then I'm going to go ahead to join the front and back shoulder, place it like so. So basically I like to place it like this, then I'm going to turn over the lining, okay, because I don't want the sewing to show. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm just basically like covering it up because I don't want it to show. Just pay attention, place it on top of each other like this, then turn over the lining to the front for the back. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So basically this will like give it a much more neater look, okay? So after pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead to sew it up by 1/2 inch on the sewing machine, okay? So this is what I have after sewing up the shoulder part. So after sewing up the shoulder part, I'm just going to go ahead to sew up the side, okay, by 1 inch. So please make sure you properly place them. So I'll advise you notch the hip line and the waistline just to make sure they are properly aligned. I like to do that for myself personally, okay? So you're just going to go ahead to sew up the side by 1 inch, okay? So this is what it looks like after sewing it up. Also, I went ahead to sew up by 1/2 inch also because we want the elastic to pass through that 1/2 inch. So I'm just notching the waist like I said because that's where the elastic will start from. So for the size of the elastic, how you can determine that is to measure your waist to wherever you want the skirt to stop. For example, in my case, from my waist to where I want the skirt to stop was around 25 inches. So you won't use 25 inches for the elastic, so you use like 18 inches for the elastic, okay? So I advise you use 18 to 20 inches for the elastic, but if you're a very tall person, maybe you can use 23 inches, okay, for the elastic. So I'm passing it through, then I'm going to go ahead to secure it on the sewing machine. So I'm doing that for both sides. So this is what I have after doing that for both sides, okay? So I'm going to go ahead to sew up the back part by 1 inch all through. Then I'm going to go ahead to add zip on the upper part. So this is what I have. This is the zip, okay? And so after doing that, I'm just going to turn it to the wrong side. So from where the zip ends, I'm just going to go ahead to pass another elastic because I already went ahead to sew 1/2 inch where we'll pass the elastic through, okay? So I'm just going to pass the elastic I'm using here is about 10 inches or 11 inches, okay? So I'm just going to pass it through from where the zip ends all the way to the end part, okay? So after putting it in, I'm just going to go ahead to secure it with a pin. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine to sew it up, okay? So now after doing that, I'm going to focus on the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead to measure 2 inches and 4 inches and draw a straight line. So that's where my flounce stay on. So for the flounce, so I'm going to draft the flounce. I'm just going to go ahead to draft it on the paper. So now I'm marking the center of the paper. So I'm drafting on the paper for visibility, okay? So that's the center of the paper. Then I'm going to go ahead to put a plus sign at the midpoint. Then I'm going to go ahead to mark 1 inch all round just like I'm doing. So mark 1 inch all round just to give it like a circle shape, okay? So after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to choose a corner. So I'm going to mark the midpoint of that corner. Then whatever length you want to use for your flounce, so I'm using 6 inches, so I'm going to mark 6 inches. Then connect it from the next corner all the way to the 6 inches. Then I'm just going to go ahead to mark 6 inches all through. just keep on marking it. As you can see, you are making sure you're starting from this point, 6 inches. Okay, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6. So just keep on marking that 6 inches all around till you've exhausted your paper or your fabric, whichever. So the fullness all depends on your preference. So I used a total of 1.5 yards of organza to do that for mine. So now I'm just going to go ahead to use my marker to give it that circle, and I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. So that was basically what I did for my organza. Also, I'm just showing you on the paper just for you to be able to see it very well, because the organza is much more lightweighted. Okay, so now this is the organza also. So I already went ahead to do that for the organza. So now I'm going to go ahead to pleat the organza on that 2 inches and the 4 inches line I marked. Okay, so make sure you pleat it properly so it's going to be full. Okay, so like I said, I used a total of 1.5 yards of organza for both sleeves. Okay, so now this is what I have. Then I'm just going to go ahead to sew up the organza, the sleeve, I mean, by 1 inch all through. So after sewing it by 1 inch for both sleeve, I'm going to go ahead to fix my sleeve on the fabric. Make sure the mid of the sleeve and the shoulder is properly aligned, and the side also. Then I sewed it up by 1/2 inch. So because this is an asymmetric neckline and we don't want anything loose, so I'm going to go ahead to take like a dart that you're seeing. So watch properly how I took this dart. So just place this on top of each other like so. Just look at what I'm doing. Place them, then take it like a dart using 0.75 or 1/2 inch, but I advise you use 0.75. So as you can see, I'm just showing you properly at this point. Just like place both sides. Please watch properly. I'm just making sure you can see it. So place both sides on top of each other like this. So after placing them or aligning them properly, sew it up like a dart. Please make sure it's not getting to like the sleeve joining. Okay, so that's just it, and this is basically what I had after sewing it up. Please, if you enjoyed watching this video, thank you so much, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, please. Oh, please, let's get some more subscribers. Let's get more subscribers. Like also, comment also, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and bye. See you in the next one.